My name's Tony Skatell, and I live in Isle of Palm, South Carolina. October 26, 2012, day I'll never forget. I died on that day. Outside of Mount Pleasant, get towards Allendale. Right there at Seaweed Preserve, we ran into a wreck. The wreck, obviously it was there for a little while because we were about a quarter of a mile, a third of a mile from the wreck. We were stopped. We ended up stopped for about 15 minutes.
I looked around and I noticed the car started to move. And then I looked over at Tony, and he was completely unresponsive. His head was back, his eyes were open, his mouth was open. And I didn't know exactly what was happening, but I knew it was really, really bad. And so I put the car in park, and then I called 911. And I decided that my best shot was to jump in the middle of the road on the white dotted line, and there were still quite a few cars behind us, and see if I could wave my arms and flag somebody down. So that's what I did. I thought maybe there's a medical person in one of these cars. So I began to wave my arms frantically above my head and say, my husband's had a heart attack. Is there a doctor? We need medical attention. And before I knew it, a woman approached me and she said, what's going on? And her name was Colleen. She was tremendous. She was a nurse, just as luck would have it. A nurse approached me and she looked over and she said, oh my gosh, we have to get him out of the car. So she went ahead and pulled Tony from the vehicle and began to assess him. So I continued to wave my arms, and this time nobody approached me, but I turned around to see what was happening with Tony, and this time a man had taken over CPR. Eventually a car drove around, saw that they were actually performing CPR on Tony laying on the ground, found the fire truck maybe a half a mile up the road. The fire truck brought a defibrillator and oxygen down to Tony, and they stopped the CPR. They shocked him one time. He didn't respond. They shocked him second time, and he started to respond. You know, it's an emotional story. And then they shocked him the third time, and then he started to come back. And at that point, they let me come to him. The nurse was sort of keeping me away because she didn't want me to see that if it didn't work, if he didn't come back. And slowly but surely, he began to become responsive. And then in short order, an ambulance came, picked him up, drove him to a parking lot, which is only a mile away. And that's where they told me that MUSC was sending a helicopter. And I thought, oh my gosh, thank goodness he's going to MUSC. I was so glad to see that helicopter, you can't imagine.